you could just say, um, I don't know, business lead. I mean, that means a lot. That could mean a lot of things. The problem is, there's some proposals that are in what I call the cancer control bucket. The boards are in the cancer control bucket. There are boards that will be in the intramural research bucket. And then there are boards that, I don't know if we made a decision yet, that would come from the divisions. And so that are in the division bucket.
Okay.
So
how often do those occur?
Well, intramural and cancer control occur quite frequently. The board for divisions is a very new thing, and it really hasn't been formally decided that they would come through that process.
Okay, so let's take as an aside right now, because I'm going to get to the rest of the demo. We'll come up with a term that we should use for that. Try to figure out a way to have like a catch-all.
So do we need to,
Exactly.
we just need to categorize that in terms of an upfront
Maybe say
analysis?
business lead for now. Maybe just say business lead for now, and then we'll figure that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we'll have to figure out some type of a catch-all for the rest of those.
Right.
For the rest of those
Exactly.
groups, a name that fits that, so everybody can use it.
Exactly. Yeah, a role. Exactly. Yeah.
So there's a business lead that looks at, I guess, overall how this opportunity fits with the organization, and is that also going to be, they'll also be doing some kind of program assessment, or is that all in the same thing?
I would say to some extent it sort of falls in the same thing. And the other thing I would sort of say, by the time it gets to Gail and then Gail forwards it to us to SPO, to some extent,
Should it be triage?
whether or not this happens in Flux or outside of Flux, that mission sort of alignment analysis really should have already been done. Because effectively, the requester does the board and sends it up through whoever their highest entity is. And that person would have already said, okay, this is fine.
Right.
From a mission perspective.
If they didn't, so if this person didn't agree with it, it wouldn't have gotten to Gail in the first place.
Exactly.
Right.
Now, of course, that almost never happens. As a practical matter, the problem is we can say our mission aligns with whatever. That's the problem.
Sure.
Now, of course, we still, we don't make any mission decisions, but we're still going to look at it. We might have even questions about it. Really, is that really what we do? So I still say maybe have the box there. The question is, but I think as a practical matter, in terms of how this sort of works, the idea is that the person requesting the board routes it up to their senior person in their area before it's even submitted to Gail, and that person says, yes, I agree with this, and then it's forward on to Gail.
So I have a quick question, Knock. It sounds like an easier way to kind of frame this would be a radio box with three pieces in it. One for intramural programs, one for division, and one for change.
Cancer control.
Right.
Right.
And then the descriptor that comes, you just say it's one of these three. Then the descriptor that happens in this box aligns to, is a caveat of the whichever one you've selected. It's not going to change the name of it, but then you're at least putting it in alignment with where it's coming from. Does that work?
Right, it'll put it in line where it's coming from, but all three should get the same kind of analysis. But right, you could certainly put it in alignment with where it's coming from.
Sure.
And those are some, and even though technically we're supposed to be one big organization now, but those are the three big buckets.
Okay.
Cancer control, intramural, and then the divisions.
Okay. I will make that modification this afternoon and kind of shoot something back to you and Tony to take a look at, just to make sure it's making sense to you. I can do it in just as a screenshot, to make it easy.
Right.
Okay, so that's good. Thank you.
I'm sorry. Hold on. Let me just make sure I got that. So we have extramural, cancer control.
No, not extramural. Intramural. Extramural is separate.
Oh,
intramural research, cancer control, and the divisions. And of course, if you really want to break down the divisions, we could actually somehow have a drop down to specify which division is coming from.
No, Gail kind of wants to get away from the whole division.
Okay. Well, in that case, you may not even want it to separate it out like that. But the problem is how we're still dealing with it. That's the problem.
So then we could put it in for the time being and just hide it from everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
You just need to know what the data points really mean.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Okay.
Because we still break it out. Even when we do when they request a fund code, they still let them know where it's coming from, basically.
So this covers both mission and program in terms of your internal reviews. Is that right?
Right. I mean, yeah. I mean, we'll certainly look at those things, but we expect that they would have addressed those things, of course, up front.
Mm-hmm.
We're not so much making a decision about the mission and alignment, but we're reviewing it, but we're really not. We're sort of relying on somebody else higher up to make that decision.
Sure. What are you reviewing
we're looking
specifically
at for?
What are you specifically?
We look at it. We look at it for any anticipated compliance challenges. One, we want to know, do they have any collaborators that might present some challenges, like any international foreign collaborators? Are they anticipating doing any subawards? Do they want to, offer up any cost sharing in kind? Do they anticipate hiring new staff? We want to look at those capacity type issues.
Okay.
Are they going to need any other resources like IT resources to do whatever they're proposing to do? Are they going to need evaluation resources to do what they're going to do? So we're looking for like resource needs, capacity issues, compliance issues, whether or not do we anticipate that we're going to be really a net positive in terms of the budget,
right?
As opposed to pretty much taking in money and giving it all out, not really taking anything from it.
Sure. So this is good information. This actually will help me frame what you're doing at this level. I can certainly leave one checkbox or one narrative box for this. I can also provide you a compliance kind of a compliance check. So I'll show you in a little bit. For this area that can be more specific to the types of things that you want to be looking for.
In fact, I actually came up with something. I haven't shared it with Gail yet, though. It was more like a simple checkbox to include on the form itself. If the board, it was more like at the end, if the board was a grant-related board, we were going to ask the individuals to just check all these boxes that apply.
Okay.
And that would be a signal to us to inquire further about those issues.
Perfect.
And it was various compliance-based issues, basically.
Perfect.
But
yeah, no.
yeah,
If you can send that to me through Tony and Kanita, then
sure.
I will add that in this evening.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I can share that with you. Yeah.
Fantastic. So, and that kind of goes back to Gail's original conversation, comment about, well, it'd be great if anyone at ACS could initiate a bore, and and then that get routed to their division or their director for review and approval before it got to me, and then I just move it on. If you started off that way, then it would all really flow directly to you.
Yeah. So yeah.
That's
I'll send that to you, and then then we can see how to work that in.
okay.
So
Terrific.
but I get what you're doing here. I mean, it looks good. So we can keep moving through.
All right. So I added this one section for budget realism just to make sure that you're not upside down on the project, right?
Exactly. That's good.
Yeah. And so at that point, the analysts who are doing the assessment for you, right? They've basically completed their part. They've added in their comments, and there we've updated it. When they update it, it will come back basically to you. In fact, you'll see it just like we just did, right? So the question is, do you want to be notified as soon as all three evaluators have finished their comments or made their comments? Or do you want to just wait to the suspense date that you added up front to get back to get back to them?
No, I would if they finish before the suspense date, then I'd like to see it then. No sense in waiting on it.
Okay. So basically, what we did was you put in the suspense date here, right? What I did was I basically said, please, in the mission assignment, in the SPO review box, I added this. Please provide your comments by the following date. This date right now is 2 days before this one. Okay. So we can adjust that time frame of how much your target date for getting something back was this. The default target date for the analyst getting it back to you is a couple days before. We can adjust.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Oh, okay. Now I understand.
Right.
Oh, okay.
This is really just a message to your analyst saying, "Hey, get me something back by this date because I need to get it to Gail."
Right. I got you. Good.
Okay.
Yeah. I like that. Okay.
So this was us just adding in the notes. So this is their comments, right? And then it's come back to you, and then you're going to add your final comments, your final recommendation, right?
Great.
You're going to say, Gail, this looks good. I think was something we should go after.
Okay.
Right? So that's budget realism, note. Gail, let's go after this. You're going to hit save. And then you're going to press this button here, advance to proposal. It's really advancing it to proposal decision. I should change that. It should be.
Or could you just say advance to demand management decision?
Well, the workflow state is for consideration, but that doesn't mean anything to anybody, right?
Okay, I got you.
So I just basically titled this card proposal decision. So this is basically one of Gail's cards. It's like sitting on her desk, and she's just got an assignment She's going to come in, she's going to click on notification, and she's going to see down here that you've basically said you think this is good, we should go after it. Here, Gail, let's go after this, right? Then Gail's going to basically look at that and say, okay, I agree. And now she's going to go in and she's going to add in her final comments. Agreed. Let's keep proposal dollars to a minimum. Right? Whatever her comments would be. And she's going to save it. And then she's going to approve it. So the save updates the record because she's added her comments. And then she's, please begin proposal. Right? And did I hit approve? I thought I hit approve. There it goes. Okay, so it updated it.
Right.
It should be. Oh, so there is. It's now in your proposal bin, right? So at this point.
Now,
sorry, go ahead.
Let me ask you a quick question. Would the requesting department, how would they get notified now that it's been advanced, the board's been advanced to proposal development?
So depending on, we basically have an approval message here. Mm-hmm. It's going to be a default approval message. Mm-hmm. And it should go out to whoever the sponsor is for the board. But that means that Gail would need to, or sponsored programs would need to put in the person who's creating that board, who that board is attributed to.
Right. So I thought that was on the. Or maybe we saw an earlier version. Tony, I thought that information was on the board, a requester or whatever we call business owner or whatever we called it.
That would be there, yeah.
So that's there. Then
sponsor name.
But I didn't see that on that cover sheet that Richard just.
So this, I'm just looking at an earlier one. This is one that's in pending analysis right now. Mm-hmm. Right. There's.
She's scrolling.
So it's. So we don't have that in there right now. We don't have the. We should add that.
Right. We should add that probably somewhere near the top. That.
Hold on. Yeah, I think I sent that in. I think I sent that as part of the wireframe.
Yeah, I must have missed it. Okay. Let me make that's a good catch. I'll make sure I go back and add that in.
Okay.
So that is necessary for
the business owner and budget department. Yeah.
For this, it's necessary for this process when we start off here. If we were to create it back here, those people would already be in the system, and so then because that person would be initiating the board, and then their director would be approving the board. So if we went through this entire chain, they would be. You wouldn't have to add that information in over here.
Right, but let's, if that part is done outside the system, then we obviously have to add it in the form itself, so we know who to email the thing back to. You know.
Exactly. So there's one other thing I should show you quickly while I'm here, and that is there's an email component. Let me cancel it from here because you don't email from within inside. Where is it? It's not on this card. It's hidden during that section. On the board, maybe it says inspo control. I'm not sure where I put it right now. There's an email component that basically allows you to email from within the system. I'm not sure if it's actually going to work the way that we want it to work. And the reason for that is it requires a POP3 account. So I had Kirsten take a look at whether or not POP3 will work within your environment. So when I get some information back on that, I'll either add it in or not. But that will allow you to email from within the application itself, like directly from here by right-clicking on it and say, send an email.
That'd be great.
Right?
If we could do that, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah. So, in terms of proposals, right now we're in the proposal bucket. Mm-hmm. We are at this stage of the proposal process, right? So we're going to my high level approach to writing the proposals. It's kind of what I've just basically built in here. So I know you'll probably want to change that, but I'm just giving you that heads up at the top, right? So at the top of the proposal section is the Signals application, right? So Signals is an internal kickoff meeting is going to start in 2 days, right? Signals is an internal messaging collaboration portal within the Grant application. So it allows you to edit and reply. See, I just got this little signal down here. It basically allows you to click on messages, right? And so, earlier messages, see, Kanita was on there, Laquita was on there the other day, and you can then reply to these messages and it will show up in this chain. So that's helpful, as you're kind of going through, the proposal. One thing about Signals is, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to ask a couple of questions. It works. Obviously, you have to be logged into the system, and how does?
Yes, it is internal. It is internal to Flux.
It's internal to Flux, but then how does a group, say it's three or four people working on that proposal, how do you know you're communicating with just that group as opposed to other people seeing what you're doing? I mean,
we will do some active testing on that.
Okay.
That's a very good question. Signals is typically an open platform, and so it may not be the right tool to use here.
Yeah, because I mean, obviously, if there's 100 staff who have access to Flux for different reasons, but yet there's like a group of maybe 3 people working on a particular proposal, I mean, everyone else not going to need to see their communications about that proposal.
Totally agree.
So unless we can create subgroups, sort of like we do on Yammer, we have an internal communication system at ACS called Yammer, and you can create subgroups, and then just those, then you can communicate within those groups. You know?
Right. Yeah, no, I totally get it. We actually use Google Groups.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, no, they're very good, very powerful, good ways to collaborate. But
right.
But I just wanted to let you know so I put that at the top just so that you know it's there, it's a potential. We haven't said you're going to use it, but this is at this point it's like, well, what's available to me, right? So here, one of the next things you're going to do is you're going to start defining team members. So there, it's a couple of me's. We'll just put Tony in as the technical writer. We'll put Canon as the proposal manager. And we can put Kanita in as a subject matter expert. Right? There's your team, quickly defined. The next thing you want to do is basically go in and add milestones to your project, right? Add milestones to the schedule. So you're going to want to have a kickoff meeting. So the milestone date, have a kickoff meeting in 3 days. So kickoff. Set agenda and tone. Save, done. Next milestone is the 30th storyboard session. Outline technical strategy and approach. So we basically just we defined milestones, but we didn't assign them to anybody. You can also go back into them, right, and you can assign them to people that are, and this has everybody that's in. So we'll assign this one to Tony. Right. So it's not. We could also edit it so it shows who it's assigned to, but that's just additional, nice to have, easy stuff. So then the next thing is, wanted to start looking at compliance, requirements and compliance. And this is actually one of the things, remember we were talking about earlier about potentially how we could get into the compliance, what you guys were looking for in terms of your compliance attributes up here, in here, right? This stuff.
Right.
What I can do is I can use the same mechanism to add compliance into the proposal. So what I do here is I would say it is on the issue is in section M of the proposal, or the RFP, or the statement of work. It is in volume. It's in paragraph 3. Paragraph 3, page 43. The issue is HIPAA security requirements. Obviously, you need to read through the RFPs and define what those requirements really are.
Right.
Right? But the RFP is already here. So you can
That's right.
basically click on View. It'll open it up in Documents. What's it doing? That should allow you to there you go. Allows you to preview the document so you can read through the requirements of everything that's there, blah, 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 right? I'm not sure what that is, but okay. So now down here, there are your milestones. There's one requirement tabbed in. You can enter in as many as you like. I didn't put any limits on the number of requirements you can add in. I also added a frame around it so it stays contained. Then the next thing is going down into proposal strategy and development, right? Basically starting to after you've had your whiteboarding session, starting to define the mission, the objectives, and the justification of how you're going to go about that proposal. So click on Edit, scroll down. So here's this section. Proposal Sorry, go ahead.
Let me ask a quick question.
Yeah.
Obviously, this is more of a convenience question. Obviously, if it can't be done on, it's not even a big deal. But I'm thinking, I'm seeing you each time you go into something, you have to kind of scroll down. Is there any way you can have almost like a linked index at the top or table of contents, almost where you can just click on that link and go back to that section real quickly? I mean,
so a link within.
Within that card,
you're talking about anchor tags, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So I actually haven't played around with anchor tags in a Flux form, and that would be an interesting. It would be an interesting, and I totally get why you kind of need it because these forms get to be very long.
Right.
And yes, you're jumping back and forth. Although most of the time, I think you're basically just doing your work and clicking save and heading and going on to the next one. You're not going to be jumping back and forth quite as much because most of these processes are done by different people. Although you're right, it would be easier to have a link that basically takes you down into the specific section.
Right. So that's just obviously something.
Yeah. No, I'll investigate that. That's a good one.
Okay. All right.
Okay, so here you're basically outlining your strategy, testing, whatever. Outlining.
Now,
I'm sorry?
Is the intent basically, I assume it is so, that obviously the programmatic folks who are developing the proposal would be inside the Flux system doing this part?
Exactly. Well, so there's two things, right? First is you need to figure out who the capture manager is for the proposal, who's in charge, and that person would then be leading that. Whether they're in whether they're in internal programs or they're in SPO, that's kind of depends on who you assign to be on the team, right?
I got you.
But the capture manager is really the one that would fill out the strategy for what they're going after based on the content that you guys have developed in the whiteboarding session. They'd also be filling out the objectives and justifications and things like that.
Right. So now, obviously, we know folks go after all kinds of stuff, and the formats are different. So in the end, they may just obviously have to create a Word file that's attached, but is the idea to help build the proposal using this system?
The idea right now is really using. I mean, this isn't really content directly for the proposal. This is the content that you're developing on the way to on the way to building the proposal.
It's the strategy.
You need to know where to go back to get all this information and what your decision points were on it along the way. And somebody whoever's the subject matter expert needs to be able to vet the data that's in there before you spend a whole bunch of time and effort writing it. Right?
Now, there are times when we might have some people who are doing a proposal where, say from intramural, where they might just be, it might just be based on their own research, and they've written stuff previously that they're basing it on. And so they may, in effect, want to skip this and just, here, I got a proposal, basically.
Fine. This is purely optional. There are no required fields in here.
Okay.
Right.
That's what I want to
This is like the idea is basically, if this helps, use it. If you want to tweak it to something that's more akin to your process, let's tweak it. That's fine.
Yeah. I got you. Okay, makes sense.
So.
Hey, quick question. I'm sorry.
Sure.
So we have like about a minute left within the hour. Just wanted to know how far are we, or how much more do we need to go? And is this suffice for tomorrow's demo, or do you see any significant changes that need to be made, Knock?
Well, not significant. It's just that, I kind of wanted to see where it goes from here, and then I had a few questions, basically.
Can you stay on?
I can stay on.
Okay,
so,
cool.
At least I got to do a call at 2:30, but I can stay on until 2:30. Put it there.
Okay.
Yeah. So you want to go ahead?
So I can speed up. I mean, I'm just kind of giving you the overview of what kind of
I understand.
pieces
and I
that
understand
I've built
this
out
piece, so we can probably move on from this piece.
Okay. So basically outlining win themes that go into the proposal. Technical proposal development is the next section. What are the technical methods being used in the technical approach, and then the work plan. How you're going to approach the work. Then the management operation plan is kind of basically, are you putting a team together? That's started to address the risk factors that you talked about up front, right? And then, so that's that part. Then the next part of this is opportunity partners. If you have partners on the effort, you would be basically we'll call them Texas Justice League, right? TJL. Hit save. It's going to create them in the organization card. It doesn't have a lot of information in there. Obviously, we just put a couple bits in, but you can then go and create additional information on that organization, right? The other thing is you do the same thing with key personnel and stuff. So we type in
So all of our ACS staff will not automatically be uploaded into the system.
They need to be provisioned in the system.
Provisioned, okay.
Right. So, I mean, right now they're not all in the system, but the idea is that yes, that Kirsten would be provisioning everybody in the system that needed access.
I got you. Okay. All right.
And that way you could just select from the list. The other thing that we have down here is relevant past performance. That could be relevant past performance from, so maybe it's a cancer study. Project began March of 2012, March 15th of 2012. It ended yesterday, whatever. You can give the project a description. CDC study for blah, 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 right? Lots more information in there you can add in. Gives you the related project task. And then at the end of this, and I kind of want to do this part of it over because I think there's a lot more that we can do to this. But the budget worksheet is really just a building block of, so you add in personnel costs. Oh, come on. And we'll stick in $30,000 on personnel. Just creates it out as a editable sheet. You can add in additional. So travel, put in 15,000. Right, it just adds it up. So you get a running total of kind of what you got going budgeted for this effort. I'm not sure how you do your budgeting for your proposals, but there's different places.
Well, that's pretty good. I think we can, given that, we can probably work with you to develop something that would be consistent with how we do budgeting for a proposal.
Okay. So that's basically it in the beginning, right? So now you've basically set up like who your organization is, who your key staff are. You've got your strategy. You're starting to generate your first draft of the proposal. You're going to add your first draft of the proposal here. So you can grab the first draft proposal file. We will use this one. Right? We'll add it in as a draft proposal, upload it. That's done. Right? So that's your proposal. That's your first draft of proposal. Then you're gonna hit. First draft proposal. It's gonna go on to the whatever your next workflow stage is. It's staying in the. I didn't create multiple workflow stages. I just created one proposal generation stage. What this can do though is it will allow you to kick off email messages to teams and groups for an action just occurred. Come in and review the status on the proposal. One thing I will share with you though is I created this secondary user or secondary portal. It's a proposal portal. So the idea here is that you could assign a team member, right, or a proposal team member, and you could give them access to the system, right? They could go in and see whatever applications were associated with this board, this specific board, right? They would also be able to go and see their account. Inside their account would be maybe proposal resume documents. So if you have external subject matter experts that are contributing resumes to a proposal effort, you may want them to load the proposals in here. There's also a conflict of interest and a non-disclosure statement that kind of goes along with this as well. So basically what you do is you'd say, okay, I'm going to go in here, I'm going to edit it out as I'm going to acknowledge each of these sections, and I'm going to add in the date of my acknowledgement. And then basically that's I will not disclose anything from this proposal effort to somebody else, right?
In fact, Richard, what you just demonstrated makes me think of a couple of ways in which we can use that.
Okay.
One of which is whenever we are a sub on someone else's project, if it involves federal funds, we have that lead organization submit what we call a government funding questionnaire. And it would be nice if we could have them either submit the form and then acknowledge it, or have the form somehow built in, and they can be one of the things they can acknowledge. They fill out the form and then hit some type of acknowledgement that what they're submitting is accurate and all that kind of stuff.
So when they're submitting something into you.
Right. Correct.
Okay.
So, but that a more important thing that we could use it for, and something we haven't really talked about yet. We talked about when we get an award that sometimes we might sub-award it out.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we haven't gotten there quite yet, but what often happens is on the proposing side, we might have proposed subrecipients that if we award it, we're going to give the money to.
Mm-hmm.
But they're part of our proposal, meaning they're going to submit what's called a sub-proposal, in effect,
right,
to us to build into our proposal.
Yep.
And most times, all they're really giving us is typically a letter of commitment, a scope of work, and a budget and budget justification.
Okay.
And it'd be nice is just like we have grantees that can come, mainly for CHI, that can come and apply for one of their RFAs.
Mm-hmm.
You know, if we had some type of, I don't know, sub-award portal where we could maybe send a link to say, hey, for this proposal, we need you to upload your sub-award documents.
Yep.
You know, your letter of commitment, your sub-award budget, so that we can then review that and extract what we need to build into our big proposal. You know?
Right.
Okay, so quick question.
So what
Richard,
you would
would that be Rich?
Yeah, go ahead.
Would that be utilizing the grant-seeking cards in a way to facilitate that proposal, that the sub-proposals?
Well, what we could do.
So what you have, right? What it would be. Each solicitation is going to end up with its own proposal, right?
Mm-hmm.
What we would do is, so this person, C. Roach, my wife, has 3 profiles, 3 looks into the system, right? So initially, I created this ACS employee look into the system so that you could click on this, you could go in and say, okay, I want to initiate a new BOR, right? So you click on the BOR, it basically shows up in the pending submission. Although I think I removed I removed the save the submit button. Although you actually could still click it. It's not going to go to their bus anymore, right? So right now that's just limited to the external facing BOR material.
Right.
So that's one look, right, for a general employee. The other look we have is for the profile. It's for the let's go see Roach again. The other is a grantee, right? So we saw the proposal portal, we saw the ACS employee portal, and now it's going in as a grantee. So this is going to allow her to apply for any of the requests that are out here. So we've got a draft CHI request out there, or on this pending dashboard, we kind of put 2 programs for 2 different solicitations, and you can have additional guidance out on the portal. So there are different ways of looking in. If they were a sub grantee, I think but they're a sub-grantee to you, right?
Right, and they really are proposed sub-grantee. They're not even an awarded sub-grantee yet.
So
we're proposing to include them on our proposal.
Right. So that's that. So I would say that really is the proposal support profile. We can title it something different, right?
Right.
It's exactly
Okay,
the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
The requirements would be called reports.
So the question then is, how would you let's say you had, let's say Emory University is going to be a sub on an ACS proposal.
Okay.
Let's say that CDC colorectal screening grant proposal. And let's say we now want Emory to provide their letter of commitment, their scope of work, assuming, the lead person at ACS, the lead person at Emory, they've been kind of talking about who's going to do what. Now we want the official documents. We want to include as part of our proposal, and we won't even actually submit everything with our proposal, but we need it. We need to know that Emory's committed. We want to see their budget and their scope of work to build into our proposal.
Okay, so let's walk through. Let's just walk through that. Let's walk through that a little, right? So first off, you need to find out whether or not Emory's in the system, right? Chances are they're not.
They're not. So we'd have to add them in the system.
So we'd add them to our opportunity partners here.
Right.
We'd add them as Emory University.
Mm-hmm.
And EMOR.
Right.
I'm sorry?
We need to. Yeah, we
So
want the contact person and.
Right. So you'd start by just doing that, right? And then you click on View, right?
Mm-hmm.
View is going to open up their organization card, and then you're going to hit on Edit, and you're going to start typing in their name and address and all the other information that's in there.
Gotcha. Right? Great. Mm-hmm.
And after that, then you're going to associate a user, right? You're going to basically go, oh, there's Fred, who's a user at Emory, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to create a new user called Fred. Let's scooch it over. By going here, we'll say Fred Emory. Give him an email address.
Right.
Phone number, whatever it is. Right.
Exactly.
Address, etc., etc., etc. Hit save. Right. Get some basic information in there. So he's saved and he's in the system.
Right.
In order to make him active, right? What I'm going to do is I'm going to go down do two things, right? He's going to fill out this conflict of interest screen. This is the administrative area. In the administrative area, I'm going to assign him a role, generic program role of proposal contributor. Remember that was the look we were looking at. We're going to say it's for all programs, right? So that's good. And then we're going to go down and we're going to edit him again. We're going to go down to the bottom to right here, login access information. He's going to have access to the proposal support profile. And we're going to give him a Fred ER. Copy that, paste that, and The rest of it's okay. I mean, it's all internal stuff that these are all internal flags that we're using for different things.
Right. Right.
And then we want to associate Fred with an organization. So we actually want to link him. Relationships, link to an org. Org is going to be Emory. Done.
Right.
Right. And then I'm going to log out of here. Log in as Freddie R. Freddie R. We're in. Fred is located.
Now
Fred, Emory's not showing up. And
here's my question though.
Yes.
How do you limit Fred to just that proposal? We may have several proposals. We're looking for subs to upload stuff. How do you limit Fred to just that particular proposal to work?
So this account, this profile, is filtered on Fred, filtered on username, right? So when you go down here to this one, I think that's the profile I've been using. There it comes. Okay, so there's drafts, organization, grant requests. We go here. The requests are limited to model theme ask, which is my model name for these bores and proposals. And then related organization ID equals my organization. So he's only going to see organizations that are associated. He's only going to see requests. He's only going to see bores or proposals that are related to model theme ask, which basically means bore, and related to his organization. We can add another filter for only the ones he individually requests if we need to.
Right. That's what I was talking about. Yeah. So I mean, if we wanted that, I don't know, the proposal title or whatever it was, we could screen them to just that proposal.
Yes.
Okay, that's the only thing I really need to know. We can figure out how to do that later. I just want to make sure we can do it.
No, we can do it, and that's how you do it, right? So you just need to figure out exactly.
Right. I wouldn't want him logging in and just seeing a bunch of stuff. I want him to log in, and it sends him to proposal support for that particular proposal, and then he can, upload, attach it, whatever documents.
Right. So that kind of we would, if we're going to kind of go in that direction, we probably need to talk that through with Dave, because that is kind of getting into account management territory, like bringing other people into your system to see your proposal data. You know what I'm saying?
Right, but how is that any different than the grantee portal?
The grantee portal is really only the requests that they initiate.
I see.
Right?
Okay.
Potentially, you could run into issues where you have an organization that has 5 different divisions, right?
Right.
And we are linking back to you. We're showing that user everything that's associated with that organization. So if the organization has 15 proposals from 3 different divisions, they may not want to have all of their people see all of the things.
And that's why I want to be able to screen it all the way down to a specific proposal. You're right. Emory could be working with us on other projects.
Right.
And I wouldn't want Fred to see that other stuff if he's not in those departments affiliated with that. So I'd want to be able to find a way. That's what I was thinking. I didn't know if maybe we could have a proposal ID in which he has to enter that ID in, and then it only associates with that proposal. Whatever way we can filter them and screen them down to just that particular proposal.
We would probably have to have a unique ID for the proposals on that individual's a user account, and then we would filter down the card based on their specific user account. Again, I think that kind of goes back to an account management issue where who determines what user accounts I have access to, right?
Right.
And if I have 3 people at my organization that are collaborating on a proposal, how do I get that message to whoever's doing account management at ACS to get those additional assignments made? It could be through the proposal manager. That's certainly a viable way of doing it. It puts the onus on them to get you the right accounts, but it's just something I think that probably would need to be talked through.
Yeah. At some level, it'd have to be through our lead proposal person here. If they got partners, they'd have to kind of tell us in what way they're working with those partners. Now, admittedly, we could do this outside the system. I mean, or put it this way, we could just have them email us the documents and then SPO uploads them in there.
Sure, you currently do it outside the system, right?
Exactly.
So that's totally on you. I'm just giving you options. So you determine whether or not they fit within the business process that you want to automate, and Kenita and Ken will determine whether or not they fit within the scope of what we're trying to deliver. And I think it's fine, but I'm just saying, we'll brainstorm, we'll get the ideas, we'll figure out what we want to do, and we'll let the others decide whether or not we're allowed to do it.
Okay.
Right. So from this point, right, basically we've identified the proposal, we've generated it a couple of times. We're going to click prepare submission. That is going to basically move it from the proposal preparation workflow state to the generation workflow state. What this is basically when you're going to go and create the book that goes out to the sponsor, right?
Okay.
That book is going to come back to you at some point to review. I think that's on the we added that to the proposal right here. So it's gone from final draft over to proposal preparation. It's going to come back to you for approval prior to being submitted to the sponsor. Question about who hits the button in the system saying that it's changed over, right? That can be you. That can be anybody in the system. It could be delegated to the branches if you want to. That's totally up to you.
It'd probably be somebody in SPO.
Okay. But what that would do is that would basically turn it over, and we'll do that right now. It basically pushes it forward. We're actually jumping. So we were in clean proposals. That was the proposal state that we should have that it bounced into, and now we just escalated it out of there. So now it's in submitted proposals, and it's waiting on the. Actually, this is a different one. Where did I put it? Oh, that's why. There it is. That's the one from the CDC. It's waiting to be awarded or rejected. Right.
Gotcha.
If it's awarded, you say, "Woohoo! That's great." We want to add a note to the file down here. Right. So, and now it's opened up the rest of the form. So the proposal part is done. We're opening up the rest of the form for award setup.
Great.
Right? Yeah. And the award setup has the budget information in it that we're gonna pull back in. See the targeted amount that was set at the very, very beginning. The proposed amount, we'll capture that back over. captured funding source, that's going to come back in now. So when they give you your final award amount back, that's what you're going to edit in here. You're going to edit in the program, basically what the budget line items are and the forecasted fiscal year. And then the forecasted programs, this is the beginning of the setup for the funding source cards for grant making, right?
Okay.
So you basically want to say, oh, we want this, whatever the appropriate funding source category, program and funding source categories are. The other part of this is a solicitation setup. So at this point, we're really just capturing the title of the solicitation. If you have to re-grant some of this money, you're going to want to basically create a solicitation that's externally facing that grantees can come in and apply for, right?
Correct. Absolutely.
And then they'll submit their. So this is the basic information that you need to start generating that.
And we would need that anyway, because sometimes on our sub-award agreements or even grant agreement, we have to include information about the source of the funding in the agreement to flow down certain terms. So we would want certain basic information from the solicitation.
So now, and then after that, basically what I'm setting everything up for this process, right? So you generate that information. That information then goes to an admin, somebody in the back end, maybe Kirsten, maybe somebody in IT, or maybe a support contract with innovation. That's all up to you guys for later on. But the idea is that what we've created is a default blank template solicitation that you can clone and then extend out with the pertinent information. Make sense?
It'd be nice. We haven't talked about this, and actually I got to get off anyway, but we can continue the discussion tomorrow when we do the demo. What would be nice, we have legal templates as well, legal grant agreement templates we use when we actually grant out funds or sub-award funds.
Okay.
And in those templates, we have to throw in information in there, whether it be certain information we're flowing down or information about the party we're contracting with. Now, again, this is another nice have, doesn't even have to happen. It can be done manually. But somehow if we could,
if you could get
all
that
the information if
you could get that to Tony and Tony get that over to us, I'll take a look at that and see how and where it would be incorporated.
Okay.
They may be they may be incorporated as documents, as document attachments to the card. Right? So either as specific letters or emails.
Right.
Well, probably as letters. Just so you know that basically, you can auto-generate a letter.
Oh, right? Yeah, right.
So this is all code, but it automatically generates the information into that letter format for you. And I think you have, ACS has, I think, like 10 or some odd letters that are in the contract. So we just need to figure out which ones you want to get done.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the only thing is, I got to think through again how we, on the award side, I got to think about the contract process. Do the requesters request the template, then do they put the information there first, then the attorneys look at it, or is it on the back end? I got to think, does this make sense doing it here or not? I got to talk with some other people first.
Okay. My thought was that basically this is the proposal going out, and then you submit it. Then you're dropping it into iContracts. At this point, you probably want to grab the iContracts docket number and add that to the file here, so that you have a reference for it when it comes back in later.
Right. Okay.
But
So
at this point, those are the only data points I think I have for my contracts is the uploaded file, which is going to get loaded into the
right,
documents bin, and
right.
maybe an iContracts award number or document number.
Okay, okay, okay. All right. Well, let me. I gotta go make this other call.
Okay.
But this all looks good. So I think we're good to go for the demo for tomorrow.
Good.
And obviously there's still some things we have to make some
After
decisions
all that.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His mouth ought to be dry. He's talking.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So, Kanita,
Let me run.
thank you for hanging in there. And
Oh yeah, no problem.
yeah, good deal.
Okay. All right then.
All right, Knock. Thanks a lot.
Take care.
Yep.
All right. Okay. Bye bye.
Kanita, you guys jumping off the phone, or are we going to get back on in half an hour? Well, actually, in an hour, right? I think you're already gone. Okay. Talk to you later. Bye.